kuwa mkono ambao unalima ardhi, mlango wa mkulima kuwa mshindi, kuwa na uhakika sasa, kukulea mustakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja, kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
Hello there, this is Farm Kenya show right here on KTN, and today we are in Kiambu County. We'll be speaking about capsicum farming, and we'll be talking to one Derek Mugodo, who is a capsicum farmer. He does his capsicum farming under a greenhouse. We'll learn more about this, the nitty-gritties, the how-tos, what you need to do as a farmer and even a beginner, and how you can get a better yield at the end of the day. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi. Let's get right into it. All right, thank you so much for joining us. You can introduce yourself, tell us where we are and what we are looking at.
Thank you so much, Kelvin, and welcome to AgriPlant Kenya. So my name is Derek. I'm founder of AgriPlant Kenya, and I'm actually an agricultural expert. This farm, we promote the different climate-smart agricultural practices, starting from hydroponics, irrigation systems, aquaponics, and greenhouse farming.
Okay.
So right now, we are focusing on capsicum production under a wooden greenhouse.
Okay.
So happy to have you.
Thank you so much for that. So let us look at the structure. As you've said, a wooden greenhouse. Yes. We're seeing very healthy capsicums here. They're flowering. We have the capsicums here. Yeah. And we have, of course, a large space that you've put the capsicums under. So what did you look at when you were starting in terms of the materials you used? Yes. And especially why did you decide to put it under this kind of size?
Yes. So very good question. Actually, I want to start by defining the kind of different greenhouses that a farmer can opt for. We have a metallic structure greenhouse, and then we have a wooden one. And also, we have the different designs, depending on the different kinds, different locations. So there are different factors that we have to consider before constructing a greenhouse. One being the location. The location will come with the weather conditions. Like you see, there are other areas, it's windy, there are different temperatures, there have humidity. So we have a couple of factors you have to consider before you decide to do a certain kind of greenhouse. And as well, the choice of crop, what crop you are doing, because different kind of crops, they need different climatic conditions. So we are trying to, because a greenhouse, we are trying to create a controlled environment for optimum production. So for us, what we considered, number one was the choice of our crop is we went for capsicum because it's a high value crop. And number two, we are in Kiambu. Within Kiambu, the temperatures are like average. The weather conditions are average. There's no strong wind, and that's why you see we opted for a wooden structure greenhouse. And another factor that we considered is cost, because we realize we are living in at times where you really have to consider cost. So a wooden greenhouse is a bit economical when it comes to setting up, because you look at it, we are just using the normal timber, and most of the resources are locally available. So that is another cost. Another factor is the size of land, because a wooden greenhouse is easy to customize. You can do any shape, any size you want. Because our farm is not a big one, so we went for a wooden greenhouse. But the production is the same with a metallic, because basically everything is the same with a metallic. The difference is now the structural part, the frame. The frame is made of timber, and the metallic one, the frame is made of steel structure.
Okay. So
that will affect, will really affect how a farmer will choose to do their production. Yes.
Okay. So very well put and explained. So
yes.
When we look at the amount of money that goes into such a structure,
yes.
Because someone might look at this and say, I can try this one. So, and as you've said, a wooden one is more economical. Yes. So when you look at the size that this is, and you estimate yes. maybe from the amount of money that can be used under such a structure, yes. What can you say?
I'll go back to choice of crop. We always advocate go for a high value crop, that you can easily get market. In most cases, try to advocate for market research before now you try to venture into production. But the bottom line is go for a high value crop. Like for the colored capsicum that we have done, it fetches very good prices on the market, and that means it has a good return on investment. Actually, in one season, under optimum production, you'll have your investment back because you have chose high value crop. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to cost-benefit analysis, start from the market, and then your choice of crop will determine when you will recoup your investment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's move and look at now. You've set up your greenhouse.
Yes.
You've used the materials that you've used.
Yes.
Is also the choice of crop going to determine the kind of materials that you're going to use? Is that a factor as well?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Because I told you different crops require different kind of conditions. So it's going to affect the way you are going to design the greenhouse. For instance, a greenhouse for vegetables, the leafy vegetables, may not necessarily have the structures like for staking support. Like this, it won't have these structures.
Yes.
Because it's just leafy vegetables. Mm-hmm. But now you see when you talk of fruiting vegetables, the ones that like tomatoes, like capsicum and cucumber, they need the staking support, whereby you incur another cost when we're setting up the staking support. Mm-hmm. So the choice of materials, the design, depends also on the choice of crop. So it's good before now you start designing it, and ensure that you have factored in what crop you want to do, so that you have your structure set up. Because for instance, you might find someone wants to do probably starting with vegetables, but in future, rather in another season, they want to change the crop into like a crop like ours, capsicum. So in between, instead of starting to do adjustments to the structure, you can choose to do the structure once and for all. Yes, you can just do the basic structure for leafy vegetables, but you include the staking support that will be used in the next season. Mm-hmm. So it's good also to consider the diversity, to be diverse, because as a farmer you may need to be diverse and just do the structure that is standard to accommodate a variety of crops. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much for that. Yes. Now let's move and look at, now you have your structure, it's set up. Yes. Now to the crop now, the seedlings, how you handle the seedlings, and how you prepare the space, because now this is capsicum. It's not like a vegetable that you would plant maybe in a different way than this one, the way you've said, because they are very, very delicate. They need to be supported. So when you look at capsicum and how you prepare the space under the greenhouse, what goes into that?
Yeah, good question, because you also have the part for irrigation, because you just have the structure, but the choice of irrigation, what irrigation system are you going for? I'll just use a case study for our case. We went for, when you look at the irrigation kit, we are using drip irrigation, and we have covered with a plastic mulch, because we are also trying to factor in the water utilization. Water is a scarce resource, so we must find a way that we can really economize on how we are using. And drip irrigation is very economical when it comes to water. And it's because we are doing targeted irrigation. At other times we call it precision feeding and precision irrigation. The plastic mulch as well, helping us to prevent the evaporation, that is conserving moisture, and also trying to contain pests and diseases to up to a certain percentage. So before you do the transplanting, because now this one is conventional farming, you are doing on soil. First of all, you start by doing a soil test, the soil analysis, to know what is the condition of your soil, what nutrients are in the soil, whether you have some infections or other some diseases in the soil. You have to carry out a soil analysis in order to know where you're going to start from, because even the soil analysis will help you to also project in terms of fertilizer, what kind of fertilizer you're going to use. If you need to do precautions for disease and pest control, what measures are you going to take even before you start transplanting? Because that's going to affect your production in future. For instance, for capsicum is normally affected by this famous bacterial infection. It's called Fusarium wilt, and also bacterial wilt, and that is normally found in the soil or in the water. So you see, if a farmer does water analysis and soil analysis before even they transplant, it's easy to identify such scenarios and prevent even before doing what? Doing transplanting. Because when you transplant and by any chance that disease, it never manifests at the early stages. It waits until you are now at the fruiting stage.
Nice
when your crop is now starting to be much delicate. Again, now, like we call it, the cancer of capsicum.
Okay.
Yes. So it's good to factor in the precautions even before you start doing that. And that draws down to, working alongside an expert. If you can get agronomists who know to produce the very kind of crop, it's good to start with them early enough, so that even when you are diagnosing a certain case in your farm, you can trace. You have the the traceability. So it's good to have all those factors in place before you start. Even right from propagation, because choice of seed, choice of the structure, choice of irrigation system affects your production. Yes.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about drip irrigation.
Yes.
So you have your seedlings, you've brought them now into the greenhouse,
yes.
And now you want to start taking care of this particular plant until it reaches what we are seeing here.
Yes.
So when it comes to the amount of water that capsicums usually need,
yes.
Maybe per day, how many times are they watered, and how can a farmer take care of the capsicum, especially in the early stages, as it has come from just the seedling stage and then now into the into the greenhouse?
So because you realize crops need moisture, they don't need water, they need moisture. So at early stages, I've seen so many mistakes that we farmers normally do and end up losing from the seedling stage. When you are now transferring your seedlings from the propagation unit, now you want to take to the farm, I'm assuming that you've done your soil test. I'm assuming you've done, if it's now you have applied the manure, or rather the correct fertigation according to the report. I'm assuming that now you have the water quality in check and everything is in check. Now you've transplanted. Depending on the weather, that will determine how much water you're using. But so that's why you're seeing now this kind of provisions that we are doing for the plastic mulch to help us conserve the moisture, so that, because you see ours, we normally water once after every 2 days because of this plastic mulch. And this greenhouse, by the way, is just a 14 by 22 carrying 1,500 crops. And you see I have a tank of around 1,500 liters, and which I do after every 2 days. I do what? I do irrigate. What's helping me to conserve the moisture is the plastic mulch you've seen me do here. But if you don't provide for such measures, so expect you might use much water. And if you are opting for other irrigation system like overhead, we have like the rain hose, we have like even the sprinklers. They are not water economical, so you'll end up using a lot of water. And you'll even end up spreading pest and diseases even further. Yeah, because another thing you need to consider when it comes to a crop like the capsicum, it's very sensitive to shift in humidity, and that shift will be brought by a change in temperatures, going hand in hand with overhead irrigation. So you'll expect a shift in humidity. So it's good to put in consideration what kind of irrigation system you are using, so that you are able to control, to know what amount of water you're using. Like for our case, we always track, we know how many liters we are doing, because apart from just filling the tank, we also have a meter that is going to tell us to know what is the consumption. Because after all, now to know at different stages, it will be consuming different amounts of water. So it's good to also to factor in an act of traceability, trace your production, and also, you know, put in consideration the precautions for optimum production, definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
And also for optimum production, you've mentioned about temperature.
Yes.
And what is the ideal temperature? Because they are under a greenhouse, and
Yes.
of course sometimes it gets very, really hot.
Yes.
So what is the ideal temperature that capsicum survives in?
Yeah, actually capsicum, first of all, there are different varieties. Yeah. So the different varieties, they have also different optimum temperatures required. But on average, most of the varieties that are on the Kenyan market, they will survive from 25 degrees, even up to 30 is fine. Because you see they're surviving in Isiolo, where temperatures sometimes get too hot.
Yes.
But that is now the work of a greenhouse. We can be able to control even the temperatures. Because when we do a shed house, using a shed net, it will help reduce the temperatures, and also other ways of cooling a greenhouse. Actually, there are so many ways of cooling a greenhouse, and that tells us that is good to. I normally call it to survey the location before doing what? Before constructing a greenhouse, because that will also dictate what kind of cooling or heating, because some areas you may need to heat the greenhouse. Some areas you may need to cool the greenhouse.
Yes.
So there are several measures that you can take to do what? To ensure that you have that in place.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's go to spacing as well.
Yes.
Because as you can see, they are pretty much close.
Yes.
So you can tell us what is the science behind that, or what is the idea behind them being spaced really like the way they are spaced, and what this adds to production of capsicum.
Yeah. Production is about numbers, especially when it comes to agriculture, it's about numbers. So, and we are also trying to utilize much space as possible. So for our spacing crop to crop, ideal is 45 centimeters. And when you are planting them, you'll see it's a very wide space. But the moment they start to grow, they start splitting into branches. So you see at the end of the time, when it comes, because this one is an indeterminate variety, we're going to harvest this for the next couple of months, because going up to 11 months production. So ideal spacing is 45 centimeters crop to crop. But as time goes by, you'll see it's now splitting. It's going to split into a big crop, because that's now adding on to a production. Okay. So agriculture is a game of numbers as well, as they say politics is.
So agriculture as well is a game of numbers, right?
Yeah. But still, don't overcrowd your greenhouse, because like for this fruiting vegetable, we are harvesting the fruits, not the leaves.
Yes.
So if you overcrowd them, they will be growing so tall with no substantial production.
Okay.
Yeah.
So also, because we've spoken about transplanting, bringing it, of course, into the greenhouse. So how long does it take from transplanting all the way to harvest? Yeah. How long does that look like?
Wow. So from the seed, let me start from the seed. Seed propagation will take about 6 to 8 weeks. Now in the nursery. And then when you've transplanted, for colored capsicum, it will take about 3 months for you to start now seeing your first harvest. But for the green pepper, it takes about 2.5.
2.5 months.
Yes, but also it depends with how you are feeding it, and also the weather conditions. Because when it's during the cold season, they tend to grow at a slower rate. Okay. Compared to when it's a bit hot. So ideally is we give it 3 months, and then you start harvesting. After you start harvesting, depending on the variety, like in the indeterminate variety, you give it. Like for us, we normally harvest every week.
Every week?
Yes. So you'll do that, ensure that you are feeding well, you are doing pest and disease control. You harvest after 3 months. You harvest for 8 months, 8 more months. Yes.
Right. So, even as we are speaking about now harvest and
Yes.
and everything else to do with it fruiting and giving you the capsicums.
Yes.
How many harvests? Maybe if you look at in a year.
Yes.
Okay, not in a year. Maybe let's say in 6 months.
Yes.
Let's say in January you have them here.
Yes.
When you look down the months,
Yes.
maybe 6 months from now
Yeah.
or 5 months from now,
Yeah.
how many times would you harvest? Because now you've said you are harvesting every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does that look like when it comes to now a longer period like 6 months from now?
Yeah. We'll expect production to vary, but from my experience, we do production per crop to give it, to know how many kilos a crop is going to give us for the entire season. So for this variety, it's actually giving us it's giving us 6 to 9 kilos a piece. So that is the entire period when you sum up the entire production. Because there are some months you expect production to go low, some months production will go up.
Yes.
And that's a normal case. Because for this crop, it reaches a time it goes on recess for about like a month. And then it comes back, it flowers, does fruits, and you go back to the normal production as it should.
Okay.
But on average, 7 to 9 kilos per crop.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. So let us look at the fertilizer.
Yes.
The fertilizer, and also if you use organic,
Yeah.
you can also tell us how that is applied.
Yes.
And how a farmer needs to use their fertilizer, especially in a setting like this.
Yeah. So for the fertigation or fertilizer, I'll go back to the soil analysis, which the report will actually guide you to know, because you have to know what nutrients are in your soil, so to know the kind of fertilizer that you do. For our case, from the soil analysis, our soils were actually very rich. So we actually just needed to add more organic matter, the manure. We mixed with the manure, and that was it. Yeah.
So you don't use any other fertilizer from maybe...
No. Over time, when we started production, is when we started now to do fertigation. There is a fertigation, we fertigate through our tank.
Okay.
Yeah, we do water-soluble fertilizer that now comes through the drips. Yes. Now a full spectrum organic fertilizer that ensures now we are attaining the weight that we desire. Because you see, for us, we are selling in kilos. We are not selling in per piece. So how you feed it, the nutrition determines the weight, and that is the production. Yeah.
Before we go for break,
Yes.
Now that you've spoken about the fertigation, what mistakes do farmers do, especially when they're applying fertilizer to capsicum?
Yes.
Because a farmer will have the greenhouse, they will set up everything very well, but now when it comes to harvest, maybe the fertilizer, the way they were applying the fertilizer was not really in the right way. So you can give us a little bit about that.
Yeah, farmers make mistakes right from even from setting up. Because if you don't have the right fertigation system, you don't have the right irrigation system, you might end up even wasting the fertilizer itself, or even doing it in excess. For instance, when you do it in excess, there is something that we call osmotic stress, whereby you've applied too much of fertilizer until the crop cannot even uptake water. So it ends up start to dry. So farmers make mistakes, but we always say in farming, sometimes you have to make the mistakes to learn.
To learn.
So it's good. It's good to have everything in check.
Okay.
And also different soils will require different kind of fertilizers.
Yes.
So you have to really know what is your soil like and what is lacking in your soil to do it, to be so specific, even to help you reduce on the costs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me hold you right there. We're going to go for a short break, but don't go too far. Remember, we are speaking about capsicum farming, and we are learning a lot. So we'll be back with more. All right, welcome back, and today we are talking about capsicum farming, and we have learned a lot. Before we went for break, we were speaking about the different kinds of measures that you need to take as a farmer in order for you to make sure that you have a good yield at the end of the day. Now we are continuing with the conversation. So we had reached harvest.
Yeah.
But before we even get to harvest, let us look at, because a farmer might get challenges, especially in terms of diseases, in terms of the way you said, the yield doesn't come out the way it was supposed to. So when it comes to diseases, what are the common diseases that capsicum usually gets to experience, and how can a farmer make sure that they contain that?
Yes. Yeah, good question. And initially, I talked about some bacterial infections, and also a shift in humidity that brings about fungal infections, and pests. Definitely, you have to put your structure in a way that there is that pest control. You try to minimize any intrusion of any pests to the greenhouse, but we always say, you cannot eliminate pests. You only control, because you'll be killing nature.
Yes.
So you have to just put practices that aid in controlling, minimizing the pests. So the common ones, very common, like aphids, you'll find them there. You'll find thrips, you'll find spider mites. But spider mite is the worst that you'd ever try to think of when you get it in your greenhouse. So that brings about need for always scouting for pests. When you come to your greenhouse, there are those daily routines. You have to scout for pests, crop to crop. But we also have some aids that can help you. We also reduce on the time you will, because you don't wake up every day coming to work crop by crop. So you have the indicators, like the blue. You have seen the blue and the yellow things, the traps. The sticky traps will help you to identify what pests are in your greenhouse, and definitely to tell you what measure we're gonna take to control the same. So it's good to have your sticky traps, because they attract different pests because of the coloration. So the sticky traps will help you also reduce, because they are trapping some. But the primary purpose is to act as an indicator. So then I'll bring you back to a point of working alongside agronomists, because you see those are the experts who are specialized now in the disease and pest identification. So it's good also to seek to work alongside an agronomist during your production period, because then you'll help. I mean, you'll learn how to identify when pests and what pests are in your greenhouse. But as well, pests and diseases are quite related to nutrition, because literally when you are not feeding well, your immunity is
weak.
Is weak, definitely.
Yes.
So it's good also to consider nutrition. From the nutrition, it's proportional to what you're going to encounter in terms of diseases. So it's good. Diseases are normally they are soil-borne. Some are even brought. Some the airborne you get, and even the pests the same. So it's good to have all the considerations in place and to have a seamless production.
Okay.
But you'll always encounter, definitely, in one way or another. Yes.
So it's good to work alongside an agronomist.
Yes.
To help you navigate how you grow your capsicum, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to harvest,
yes,
before you even harvest,
yes,
what shows you that this fruit is ready for harvesting? And for the colored ones, for after how long should you start, seeing the color change, and to just tell you, okay, now it's time for you to harvest?
Yeah, so depending on the weather, it's a matter of observation. But on average, after 2.5 months, the green ones, you'll see them like they are ready, even in terms of sizes and whatnot. The colored ones, you'll see them to start to change. Like the red ones, you'll see they start to darken. Like you'll see a couple of them when you are just walking, like the ones you're seeing there. It will start to darken and then turn to red. So even when it comes to harvesting, depends now in the kind of storage that you're going to opt for, or where are you taking them. For example, we have our customers who take this to Mombasa. You see, we're in Nairobi and they take it to Mombasa. So we normally harvest them. Immediately they start to turn when they are not fully ripened, but immediately they're starting to turn, because you see the factor of distance and the shift in temperatures. Unless they are carrying it in a very cool environment, but still on the same, it touches still on the nutrition, because how you feed it, it will determine the shelf life of your produce. Yeah. So if it lacks some essential minerals, essential nutrients, definitely it's going to affect how long it's going to stay on the shelf. So we harvest, it's a matter of just observation, but from our cycle, it's weekly. Once a week, we are having about 100 to 150 kilos that are ripened, ready to harvest. Yeah.
Right. So also in the harvesting,
yes,
how do you pluck the fruit?
Yeah.
Do you just remove the whole plant, or you just take the fruit? And what happens
Yes.
to the remaining plant after now? Do you decompose them? Or what do you do to the plant that remains? Even after now, maybe the whole plant has given fruit, and you've exhausted it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So for this variety, you just have to pluck the fruit, and you see the rest is still under production. You'll still see flowers. Like for this one, you see there's still flowering.
Yes.
So the flower is still going to translate to a fruit. Like this one, you see it's translating to a fruit. Yeah.
Yes.
So the bottom part, the fruits are ready. You just pick the ones that are ready. The rest, you leave them. But at the end of the season, the crop will have done with the production cycle, and then you just have to uproot and either decompose, depending on the condition of the stalks. Just decompose, and probably you can use them as manure. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you've spoken about seasons,
Yes.
and you said there's a season where
Yes.
this plant might decide
Yes.
to to just relax.
Yeah, to go on recess. Yeah.
How does that look like? And do you still continue taking care of the plant, or how do the leaves look like when it decides, I'm taking a little rest? How does that look like?
Yeah, normally a little rest, you'll see it's not flowering anymore. It's like most farmers may normally start to give up, but it's a short period. You have to continue feeding your crop. You have to continue with the pest and disease control. You have to continue to manage that. Yeah? So it's sometimes to say you might get confused, especially as a first farmer. If you have not done this before, you'll be a bit confused. But just like a month or 1.5 months, and you're back to normal. You have this. As long as you have maintained nutrition and you have maintained pest and disease management, it bounces back. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned about transportation of this.
Yeah.
And I believe now when you speak about transportation, let's speak about even storage and how they can be stored.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, produce usually gets spoiled.
Yes.
After you get a very good yield, and then during storage it gets spoiled.
Yeah.
So how does a farmer make sure that their capsicum is appealing to a buyer?
Yes.
And how do they make sure they store it in the right way?
Yeah. So initially I told you this is a high value crop, and what happens in our farm? Buyers just come here, the retailers. They come. We harvest them when they are here. But the shelf life, because definitely they are not going to sell the very same day, or they're going to sell obviously after a couple of days. Shelf life depends on the nutrition as well. So I'll bring you back there. When you look at our capsicum, it's very hard. It's hard. It's rigid, and that tells you that it can stay on the shelf for even 7 days without getting spoiled. But ideally, if you want it to stay even longer, you can do it in a very cool environment. Yeah, you have people who opt for doing it in cold rooms, refrigeration rooms. We have those who have opting for charcoal coolers. Yeah, so ideally it can stay up to even a month, depending on what storage you choose to go with. Yeah.
All right. So, and the prices, what determines the prices in the market? Because you've said a high value, high value crop.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the prices in the market and how they fluctuate over the year in seasons, what determines that, and how do you make sure that you know you are within the prices,
the bracket
that everyone is maybe selling theirs at?
Yeah, market dynamics.
Yeah, the market dynamics.
So production, definitely. You see these, the colored, for colored capsicum, not everyone does this.
Yes.
And it's close to difficult to do them outside because of the color. They're going to attract birds. And or unless you are just growing them for the birds, you know. So that, and you know, even for not everyone, actually a very small percentage of Kenyan farmers are doing greenhouse farming. And that means the production, we have not yet even met the market demand. And you know the law of demand and supply. So that tells you, actually, from my experience, for a couple of years I've been doing capsicum, I've never sold at farm gate. I've not sold even below 100 shillings. That is farm gate. Yeah.
That's one capsicum, or
that is a kilo.
A kilo of capsicum. Yes.
You see, there's a time where you go at the market, even the supermarket shelves, you see them even going for 400, 450 shillings a kilo. Yeah. So we have the market dynamics. You have the middlemen and the whatnots. But it's good to do your market research first. Like for us, we have identified our specific buyers who come here. We don't sell to anybody, because sometimes you realize they are all flooding here. So we just identify one or two that we normally supply to. Yeah.
And so planting or growing capsicums under a greenhouse, and growing them not using a greenhouse. You can tell us about that. If you as a farmer, what are the dynamics, especially when you're growing them outside and when you're growing them in a greenhouse?
So when you're growing outside, you have so many risks. Starting from what I've just told you about birds, they're attracted to the colorful ones. But if you are doing the green pepper, the green capsicum, those one outdoor is fine. But as well, the green ones, they fetch lower prices on the market, definitely, because everyone else is doing that. So if you're looking for colored capsicum, try not to do it outdoor because of the risks. And you see, it's a crop that the variety we are doing, you are going for 11 months. So you can imagine 11 months of your crop outside, exposed to all the kind of risks. So you realize you are using too much on pest and disease control because it's outdoor. So that means your cost of production outside is going to be very high, and also production is definitely low. But when you are doing inside a greenhouse, you have good production, you have year-round production, you don't depend on external factors to do the production, so you are producing an entire year, and also you are reducing on the inputs. Yeah.
Now, even after comparing the two, now that you are a greenhouse farmer, let us look at, we spoke about losses, right? Post-production. Which ones have you been able to experience, especially the post-harvest, and how did that look if you experienced it?
Yeah, because this is not my first farm. I had a farm that I started before I get to learn the dynamics of how the chain works. I did colored capsicum, yes, but the sizes, I was getting very tiny sizes of the fruits, and with no market. I mean, no market for low quality. I mean, because I've talked about what to consider, because those are lessons I've learned from the mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah? Nutrition. I failed on nutrition. So I harvested very small fruit. They started to fruit at very small size stage. And you see now you are looking at selling also, healthy and good looking produce. So I was just looking at it, so consuming it, kula capsicum kama mboga.
Kula na kila kitu.
Kula like nakula na chai, nakula na, like, So mistakes I did not consider from production stage.
Yes.
Like even now post harvest, we are harvesting, I have not identified the specific market, because yes, even the small sizes, I came to realize later there is market for that as well. But you have to identify it, because if you have produce and you don't know where to take it, it becomes a bit challenging, and that's a loss on your end. And that time I don't have even a storage facility yet.
Okay.
So you can imagine, we have harvested.
That's crazy.
You have your small size fruits. You're just eating them,
Yeah.
But we learn along the way. Yes.
Now, from what you're saying, and about the experience that you've had, the learning that you've had to go through,
yes,
what advice would you give a farmer who is starting capsicum farming?
Yes.
And of course,
yes,
I know we spoke about it, but you can also give us a little bit of mistakes that a farmer needs not to even try, especially when they are handling capsicum farming.
Yes.
Yes.
So the first big mistake, you skip soil analysis, you skip soil tests. And I've told you this is the worst, like I've told you, the worst you can experience is bacterial and fusarium wilt. Like the crop dies. It dies and that's it. You won't even recover it. And you see that you are getting from the very, very beginning, if you are getting the mistake from the very beginning, and it's not manifesting at the beginning. You see that? It's waiting when you start now to see the harvest. It strikes you. So the very big mistake farmers do, they don't do soil tests. Actually, most farmers, they don't do that. They're just like transplanting, doing DAP and all the kinds of best of fertilizers. And sometimes you are just wasting it. Or they are coming with all kinds of foliars and agrochemicals anyhowly. So the mistake is to do even without information. So first of all, try to seek information, and information from the right people, because the right people will give you the right information. A reputable agronomist, someone who has experience in farming that particular thing. And farmers normally try to avoid that. So I'm trying to compare it. When you go to the hospital and you want someone from admin to treat you, because they're working, they're all in the facility, but they're not specialized in whatever they want to do that, right? So it's good to seek information from the right people. Walk alongside even farmers who have done this. Don't just walk alone. So farmers try to walk alone. And you see a food system, when you talk of a system is not an individual. It is all of us. So we work with others. Yeah.
Okay. And capsicum farming, is it something that you would want, you would like to recommend to a new beginner? And is it something, first of all, that you would recommend to a farmer who's starting from zero?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing is impossible, because you might see a newbie who is ready to learn and to work with the rest who have done mistakes and are ready to show them the way, right? So anybody can do it, as long as now you're following the right channel.
Okay.
Yeah. If you just hop into the system without direction, you end up regretting. And you see, it's kind of a heavy investment per se. If you are doing for greenhouse, you are not ready just to do it carelessly, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And for a farmer who wants to start small, start small, I mean maybe not a bigger size,
Yes.
maybe small, and also
Yes.
remember many of people,
Yes.
and even the ones who are watching, the young people, someone doesn't have a huge land
Yes.
that they can, you know, break down and also convert into something like this. What advice would you give, especially someone who has a very small space and it can maybe hold, let's say, 100 capsicums or 200 capsicums? What would you tell them?
Yeah, you see, technology is really advancing, and so is the climate smart agriculture. We have vertical farms, not unless you have occupied all the vertical space. One person who sees the vertical space and like all this space, you can use it, you know.
Yes.
So you can opt for utilizing the vertical space through different kind of vertical farming systems for you to do even to have much production. But the idea of a greenhouse is also to ensure that you have good production compared to when you're doing outdoor. So even if you're having like a 50 by 100, you can do up to even 3,000 crops of capsicum, and that you either in a shade house or in a greenhouse. Because an 8 by that you are doing like almost three greenhouses of 8 meters by 30 meters. So there is no small or big land, because you can have even 10 acres and you are producing absolutely nothing, you know. And you can have 50 by 100 and you are doing good. So yes, space is a factor, but it shouldn't be a limitation, especially for the young people. Okay. I'm an advocate for the young people to get into the agricultural space. So start somewhere. Start with what you have.
I mean, you're a young person as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yourself.
Yeah. Start with, the last time you were here, you have seen a very big improvement.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yes.
Now, as we are nearing the end,
yes.
Any advice that you would give someone who wants to get into capsicum farming, and what that looks like, and the risks even with the capsicum farming, because you've said, you know, this is a high value crop, so you don't just do it carelessly. Even as we finish.
High value, high risk. And so is the income. It's also high. So walk the right way, work with the right people, and start with what you have. For instance, when you come to me, since I've walked this journey, I'll sit down with you and try to, like we do a project proposal, to analyze the risk. We do the risk assessment. We do plan before you just get into it, right? So it's good to plan even before you start, not just do it because someone else is doing. So work with the right people and just do the right thing, and you'll have it easy.
All right, simple like that. Right, there you have it. Work with the right people and everything will fall into place. And you've heard it right here on KTN. This is Farm Kenya, and today we were talking about capsicum farming. We've learned a lot. I mean, vertical farms. We've learned how you can set up your small space that you have and say, this is what I want to do. We've come to the end of this edition. My name is Calvin Nyakundi. Let's meet next time right here on KTN.